The Atlantic was restless that morning, steel gray waves slamming against the hull of the USS Resolute as sailors moved with quiet urgency across the deck. Below them, mounted like something torn from a science fiction novel, sat the Navy's experimental railgun. It didn't look like much at first glance. No massive barrel flare, no stacks of ammunition, just two long metal rails housed in an angular turret, cables thick as a man's arm feeding it power from deep within the ship. But everyone on board knew what it could do. Instead of gunpowder, the railgun used electricity, millions of amps surging down parallel rails, launching a solid metal projectile at hypersonic speed. No explosives, just raw kinetic force. A tungsten slug traveling over Mach 6. At that velocity, it didn't need a warhead. Lieutenant Mara Ivers stood in Combat Information Center, eyes fixed on the display. Target drone in range, 100 nautical miles, the weapons officer reported. 100 miles. Traditional naval guns couldn't reach that far with precision. Missiles could, but missiles were expensive, complex, limited in supply. The railgun was different. Each shot cost a fraction of a missile. As long as the generators could feed it power, it could keep firing. Charge sequence initiated, came the voice over the intercom. Deep within the ship, capacitors hummed, then roared. The lights flickered for a split second as stored energy surged forward. On deck, the turret elevated, projectile seated. Unlike conventional shells, this one contained no explosives, just a dense aerodynamic dart designed to punch through steel and concrete with unstoppable momentum. Fire! There was no thunderous boom, no fireball, just a sharp metallic crack as the projectile vanished downrange faster than the eye could track. The recoil shuddered through the deck, not violent, but powerful. Seconds later, splash, direct hit. The drone disintegrated in a silent bloom on the horizon. Even at that distance, the impact had been catastrophic. Mara allowed herself a small smile. The implications were enormous. Missile defense systems would struggle against something moving that fast. Enemy ships could be disabled before they ever knew they were targeted. Coastal installations neutralized without deploying aircraft. The railgun represented a shift in naval warfare. Electricity replacing explosives, physics replacing chemistry. But as the crew began cool-down procedures, a senior engineer shook his head. Barrel wearer's worse than last test, he muttered. Rails won't survive many more full-power shots. That was the catch. The same forces that launched the projectile also punished the weapon itself. Heat, friction, magnetic stress. The rails degraded quickly. Maintenance was constant. Funding debates loomed in the distant halls of government. Powerful, but not yet practical. That evening, as the sun sank into the Atlantic, the railgun sat silent against the crimson sky. A weapon ahead of its time. In years to come, budgets would tighten. Programs would pause. Some would call it too ambitious, too expensive, too experimental. But everyone aboard the Resolute knew what they had witnessed. The future of warfare had spoken, not with an explosion, but with a flash of lightning trapped between two rails. What do you think about that? The future is here. Stick around for more. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.